Welcome to Thursday, the 5th day of December, 2024. This Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism. Douglas and Glen Rock, Wyoming are bustling with action this holiday season. Plan your excursion, including fun activities, beautiful downtowns, and historic treasures. Learn more at conversecountytourism.com. Well, a continued pleasant weather pattern will be found across the region. More beautiful views like you see there of Pikes Peak and those colorful clouds. We'll have more of this nice weather for most of you today, tomorrow, Saturday. I think on Sunday we're going to see enough wind and changing weather conditions that Sunday won't be as nice. So let's stop at Saturday in terms of the nice weather. There is going to be, over the next day or two, another big push of Arctic air just to our east. If you're wondering, well, where's the winter cold? Well, it's really not that far away. It's just the way the pattern has evolved is the real wintry weather pattern that you'd expect in December. It's covering the central and eastern parts of the United States. Now, we will see things change with the Pacific trough beginning to impact the region late Saturday, spreading south Sunday and Monday. It's not a terribly moist system, but it will certainly be enough of a change in the weather to grab your attention with noticeably colder temperatures. There is going to be some snow. Looks like Montana, the northern half of Wyoming, some of the Dakotas are going to have the best chance of accumulating snow getting down on into the plains. Mountains elsewhere will be the most favored. And we're going to have a persistent north to northwest wind aloft get a little bit further west into the high plains towards the middle of next week. So the cold won't be directed so far to the east, a little bit more to the west. So that's going to make it, especially for you folks east of the divide, going to be colder and more unsettled, more blustery next week. West of the divide, you're still somewhat going to be protected at least through the middle of the week. But east of the divide, that north-northwest wind aloft is certainly going to keep chilly air. Then there's another frontal system due to arrive by next weekend as the weather pattern starts to slowly change again. Beautiful shot there of the moon and Venus. In fact, they're getting closer and closer together. So if you have a chance in the evenings, check out that crescent moon and Venus. Going to put on a good show there. The satellite imagery this morning looks a lot like the last couple of mornings. We have this high pressure ridge over the Pacific coast into the Rockies. Here is the next surge of colder air coming out of Canada. Here's some low clouds even into the Dakotas, parts of central Nebraska, where that air is colder. There's going to be a lot more lake effect snow and ice in the northeastern United States. If you got to travel through airports in that part of the country, not going to be a fun day for you. But it's fun here in the west with this high pressure ridge right here. And you can see that very cold air, the winds aloft, coming on in, bringing the cold to the eastern side of the nation. This high pressure ridge is going to hold on for a little bit longer through Saturday. But this area of low pressure right here will start to make its move to British Columbia here by late Friday into Saturday. You can see the cold just to the east of us. This is around noontime today, so you can see a pretty good swath of much, much colder air heading into the areas east of the divide. So you can see the cold air just can't climb the higher terrain. So where the terrain's a little bit lower, cold air always goes to the lowest point of gravity. Think of cold air as always wanting to go to where water would go, the lowest point of gravity. Cold air is more dense, so it has a harder time climbing the higher terrain. That's why the western United States, once you get above that 3, 4, 5,000 foot level, you have to have deeper air masses vertically, deeper columns of air coming out of Canada to get pushed further west to climb the terrain. So the terrain makes a really big difference here. So you can see where the terrain is higher relative to the 30-year average, it's a lot warmer. So you can see it's really not that far away, the cold today. And look at these temperatures. These are temperatures by noon today, Fahrenheit. Only in the single digits and teens over a large swath of the Dakotas, even eastern areas of Nebraska, Corn Belt here. So if you look a little bit further west, the cold air just can't climb that higher terrain, as you can see right there. So the terrain holding back the Arctic air as it's getting directed this way. And if you look at temperatures over the last week, so if we go back to The last 7 days, these are the temperature anomalies. So you can see where the trend has been for the cold to be. When we get to the weekend, this is where things change up a bit. We get a piece of that low comes off, comes through British Columbia, and we're going to have a frontal boundary right here coming in by noon Sunday. So the Pacific Northwest, Idaho, Montana, northern Wyoming, the Dakotas, you're going to get colder, blustery, and I'm afraid to say windy conditions are going to develop. There's going to be a lot of wind developing right here as the system slides in, especially Sunday. Really not much wind to contend with today, tomorrow, or Saturday, but Sunday you're going to notice it getting very windy. We'll show you that here in a minute. Cold air is coming in behind it. Now this is not a system with a lot of moisture. There's just not much. There's going to be some, but it's a little moisture starved, so we're not going to see a lot of precipitation out of it. But we will with the wind. These are the wind gusts. Most of this wind happens between Sunday and Monday morning. So you can see kind of a pretty big area of pretty windy conditions. Winds gusting here, pretty strong and healthy. And in the colder air here, that's going to drop wind chills down a little bit, especially for this area right here. You're going to really feel it getting colder and windy with a bit of light snow coming on in. We're going to have strong winds along the Interstate 80 and I-25 corridor, South Pass areas, along the foothills and mountains west of Cody and Meeteetse. You're going to get the wind. So be ready for that late Saturday, Sunday into early Monday. Then the colder air will wash its way in from the northwest. This is the same wind graphic I just showed you, zoomed in a little bit closer to Wyoming and Montana, western areas of South Dakota and Nebraska. So this is where the windiest areas are going to be on Sunday. Then as we get into temperatures, nothing record cold here. It's just going to be a lot colder during the day Monday behind this front as it's been lately, especially in this area right here. So temperatures will go down. Now this is the first wave of moisture. You can see there's a northern bias where the moisture is going to be heavier. So the northern areas, the Pacific Northwest, Montana, northern and northwestern Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota. Then there's going to be another little area of snow in the mountains of Colorado, maybe a little bit getting out into the plains here. This is between, most of this happens Sunday, Monday. So this is Sunday, Monday, coming in from the northwest and heading to the southeast. So especially up here, we're going to have some travel concerns latter half of the weekend and into Monday. When we look at the snow with the first wave, there you can see it. Again, not terribly impressive, but enough, especially north of that black line I just drew, to watch out for. Then traveling along Interstate 70 in Colorado is going to be a bit of a problem with the high country Colorado getting yet another round of some pretty good snows. But there's a little bit of a gap as the system comes through right there where the precipitation won't be as much. The second round of weather comes, this is Tuesday into Wednesday. Notice there's a high amplification of the jet stream, and the jet stream winds are coming in almost from the due north. So if you follow the air from the Northwest Territories to the Four Corners area, it is a straight shot out of the due north. So you're going to have colder air coming on in on the backside of this trough, further west than what we're experiencing now. So that may push some of the cold air up against the divide. It's going to be a close call. It may stay just east. But if it does back into the continental divide, then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, east of the divide, is going to be colder, and little disturbances, little waves coming through the flow like this will produce snow showers. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. If it does back to the west, which the European model is hinting at, this is the second round of precipitation that happens Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday underneath those jet stream winds. So if it does, this is not a given, but if it does back west, then the Black Hills of Wyoming and South Dakota along the Montana border, the northern bighorns here, the Beartooths, you're going to catch in the northwest flow some snow showers mainly on the back side of that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with the colder air backing up. It could be, though, that the colder air is a little bit more to the east again. So this is a question mark. But nonetheless, the colder air does get closer to the divide next week with this change in the weather. But notice the Pacific Northwest and California here still going to be protected by high pressure for a little bit longer. That's what the potential snow could look like if it backs to the divide in that Tuesday through Friday timeframe of next week. We'll just have to watch, wait, and see. But there is another system coming by the weekend. This is by Saturday. Another trough and front comes in off the Pacific Northwest. Another one comes in behind it. So the weather pattern is getting more active. Question is whether or not these systems will end up being major, minor, or somewhere in between. But certainly the high pressure ridge that's right now dominating in this area is going to be gone. And you can see it shifting more to the central and eastern parts of the U.S. Have a good Thursday. We'll have more for you tomorrow.